Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. I'm Adam Hildebrandt, joined by Tiger Football head coach Josh Blankenship. Heading into, it feels like it's been forever because we played Thursday, and now we play again tomorrow. But, Coach, you had a big game out of your special teams, a little bit of a roller coaster of game out of special teams because they started, Southmoore did, returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown, but then you guys got 2 scores on kick return. So let's start with the special teams since they were a pretty big part in that game. What did you see? Let's start with the kind of general gist before we get into specifics of how those units graded out over the course of that game.
Yeah, minus that first opening kickoff, graded out really high. The guys are really giving great effort, playing sound, doing some really good things. We've eliminated some stupid penalties that can happen, especially when you get a big return like Kayleb did a couple times. Stuff behind the ball once he's made a move and is in open space, being smarter in those situations. Really, outside of that opening kickoff, was really pleased with our special teams.
How exciting is it when you see Kayleb Barnett get into open space?
Well, always exciting. We've been waiting kind of for that to explode. He's very capable anytime he's got the ball in his hands. And then, honestly, the first priority on punt return is catch the punt. The nightmare happens when it hits the ground and starts bouncing another 15, 20 yards. So he did a good job of fielding the punt, and then the rest after that was all him.
Did you have the same punt return on both of those occasions?
Yeah, yeah. We really didn't even have a return set up. What their scheme, and not to be negative, but their lack of scheme on their punt team. We just decided we were going to engage their front guys and drive them back, and then let Kayleb do what Kayleb does.
Okay, so that able to essentially create space without even necessarily setting up a cohesive block. That actually also kind of answers the next question I had was there something that you wanted to attack that you saw from their their punt team? So that adds to that as well. Let's move on to the defense because they didn't allow a point in the game. And, that opening kickoff was the only 7 points that Southmoore got. What did you see on that side of the ball?
Guys up front, D-line really coming into their own, finding a rhythm. They were explosive. They were playing on the other line of scrimmage, or other side of the line of scrimmage most of the night. When they do that, they let our really good core of linebackers make a bunch of plays. And then the secondary showed up big time as well. What do we have? At least one pick, I believe, with Condry.
Mm-hmm. Might have been
and
2.
I think we had one of our DBs had a pick as well.
Yeah.
So very pleased. Not only are they forcing 3 and outs, not only are they getting sacks, but getting turnovers and then even points. Really pleased with how our defense is coming along.
Yeah, anytime you get 21 points from the defense and special teams, that's going to make the offense's job a lot easier over the course of that game. Lane Condry, who we're going to hear from in a little while, Austin Newell, Dietrich Moore, those are kind of your starting linebackers. And some other guys rotate in there as well, but it seems like they have really gelled as a unit over the course of these first 4 games. What are you seeing from them right now? That
exactly. I mean, they're really playing complementary football. I think just with the understanding of Coach Mon's scheme, the experience game by game by game of playing together, just finding a way to be cohesive and great understanding of what their jobs and their roles are.
Is that kind of their biggest improvement just in terms of the mental side of the game for those 3 playing together?
Yeah, I think so. I think just settling in, it's to me, and Coach Mon might disagree, but it's very similar to O-line play. Like, if you have one new guy in there, there's chemistry that's got to be developed, and guys trusting one another to do their jobs, take care of their gap, whatever their responsibilities are. That takes a lot of trust, especially for big playmakers that want to try and do everything.
We have not talked about this group of safeties a whole lot, which is a little bit of a shame because they've made some really big plays over the course of the year. Elisha Wilson seems to kind of show up everywhere at times. You've had Donovan Hardaway, J.Q. Mans, who have both been back there. What do they bring to the table as a group?
Leadership, athleticism, length. Elisha and JQ are very pretty specimens back there, roaming the middle. Long, can run, very good at attacking the ball when the ball's in the air. Donovan's kind of our drill sergeant. He gets everybody lined up. He's got a great understanding, a great intellect for our scheme and football in general. So our safeties really, again, like everybody, pleased with how they're coming along.
And we've not seen a lot of balls that have been thrown deep down the middle of the field. Is that a testament to those guys being over the top and what they do in terms of pass coverage?
I think so. I think we kind of had a wake-up call there that first week against Bentonville. We talked about, I know that seems like a lifetime ago, but bad eyes and poor alignment, and we've ironed a lot of those things out, and so hopefully we can maintain that consistency there.
That's a look at the defense and the special teams. We'll talk some Tiger football offense when we return in just a moment. This is Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
Right now, get $200 from TTCU Federal Credit Union when you open a new checking account with direct deposit. What would you buy with $200?
Cars, race cars, my own apartment, 100 coloring books, and a puppy.
Or maybe some groceries and a tank of gas. $200 for whatever works for you from TTCU, because life is better in balance.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. Adam Hildebrandt alongside Tiger Football head coach Josh Blankenship. Coach, offensively, able to get the ball to the perimeter with quite a bit of success in that game last Thursday. Opened up some big holes for multiple guys in the running game. What did that offensive line show you last week?
Continued improvement. We've talked about other groups and gelling and finding that chemistry and cohesiveness, and that O-line group has been together for, that was our fourth game together. So continued improvement there. And then with the three backs that we have that are all three are very special, that stuff just complements one another. And then when you've got threats on the outside to be able to hit some balls down the field, that forces the defense to stay honest.
Kayleb Barnett, we talked about some in the punt return game. We'll hear from him in just a little while also. But how does he challenge a defense when he's on the field as a wide receiver?
Well, when he's on the outside, he's always got the threat of running right by you. When he's at the slot, he's got that threat of RPO, which can really stress a defense on trying to, especially if they're trying to not necessarily play straight up man, but they want to try to honor what he could do in the RPO and play the box in the run game. He really stresses a defense there on forcing them to choose.
Kaden Jones is another young guy who has been producing. He nearly doubled his production this last week. He had 80-something yards. I think he was 88, something like that. Obviously, he's very talented. What do you want to see him continue to improve on as he works through his freshman season?
Just more reps and more experience. He's growing into his own. He's got all the talent, and then it's just a matter of time before he gets comfortable to be able to create the really special things that happen just with time and more reps. All those guys, they're all dependent upon us having success as a unit. It's never surprising to me that when we get in a rhythm and we start playing with good pace, how anybody could pop off and anybody could have a great game at any given moment. That's a credit to the whole unit working together.
Owen Jones continues to make good throws, continues to protect the football. How much more comfortable is he now than he was a month ago when we started this season?
Night and day. And he's such a poised individual that he would never show you any nerves or any lack of poise. So he did a really good job early in the season of appearing confident. Just having been there, having played it, I could tell he was just guarding what was probably going on the inside. Now you can really tell there's some confidence brewing there, and there's some comfort. He's settled in. I'm anxious for him to start coming over and telling me what he's seeing and some things that he would like to start doing.
You've had a pretty deep group of wide receivers all throughout the course of this year. A.D. Rummins had that big highlight catch. We saw a touchdown catch last week from Kayleb Barnett. Do you feel like you guys are kind of starting to zero in on how to use each guys in their own personal strengths in that group?
Yeah, that's coming for sure. You kind of get a knack for strengths, what one guy does a little better than the other. And again, that's assuming everybody's healthy.
Sure.
We didn't have Cade Matthews last week. We're excited to have him back this week. The more you've got all your guys healthy, like anybody would tell you, the more of a threat you can put together, and the more likely you are to be able to use their strengths instead of just relying on the only thing that you have.
A lot of weapons, and they'll be back on the field this week at Norman North. More to come in just a moment. We'll talk about that Norman North matchup after we talk with a couple of players coming up here in the next segment. This is Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
Recently, you've had to put your life on hold, and we're with you in this. At Ascension St. John, we're now open for appointments, and we are fully prepared for your safety and our care. As we open our doors again, our doctors, nurses, and care teams will continue to wear personal protective equipment. We've taken even more steps to clean and stringently disinfect all areas. We will maintain distancing in our waiting rooms and will continue to limit visitors. And we will still screen all staff to protect their health and yours. Our emergency rooms are here 24/7. Please do not delay care. We're still delivering babies and performing surgeries. And we're open for your appointments, from specialists in surgical care to routine care and health screenings. Ask us about virtual visits. Ascension St. John continues to care for you, as we have been for almost a century. Thank you for trusting us.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. Adam Hildebrandt, Coach Blankenship back with you. And we're joined now by Lane Condry, who's a junior linebacker, and Caleb Barnett, who's a sophomore everything for the most part, wide receiver, punt returner, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to talk to those guys a little bit here. Caleb, let's start with you. You had the 2 punt returns in that game the other day. I want you to walk us through that first one where you basically kind of ran up face-to-face with the guy and bounced off him and ended up taking the distance. How did that play out from your perspective?
So when I was running, I was trying to go catch the ball off the punt return. And there was like their whole team was on this side, so I ran back this way. And there was just 2 guys in front of me, so I just ran right into him, and I stayed up. So I just kept on running.
Once you've bounced off like that, is it kind of like a broken play at that point? Like I would imagine whatever block setup may have been in place is kind of busted up by that point once you've run into somebody and everybody's kind of moving around.
Yeah. I don't think nobody stopped blocking. I don't think they was just looking at me. I think they just kept on blocking, so I just stepped on following them.
All right. Now, obviously, you're known for your speed. Do you also run track? Like, how did you just show up on the football field and suddenly you're fast?
No, I run track too.
Okay. What do you work on in terms of trying to add speed, gain speed? What are the kind of things that you do to try to improve that?
Like different type of stretches. My coach, Coach Davis, taught us in track.
Okay. How does track's in the spring, right? Do you mostly just go from football straight into track?
So I stopped playing basketball this year, so I can stick with football and track.
Okay. Obviously you're talented in both of those. What things do you run in track? Like what are your events?
I run the 100, the 200. I used to long jump, but in the relays.
I once tried to high jump. I think I got to 4.5 feet. I had no training in my defense, but it did not go well. What about away from football? What do you like to do outside of football and track?
Just hang out with friends, play the game.
Okay, very nice, very nice. All right, Lane Condry, junior linebacker. You've kind of burst onto the scene this year. How comfortable are you now, 4 weeks in, with your role, and what kind of prepared you to be able to play at this level this year?
Well, I had to get that first game jitters out of the way, but I've got into grooves where, it's I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. I just gotten used to everything and the process of each game week and how I prepared. So,
do you feel like you're playing more now as opposed to reacting to what's happening around you?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
All right. So linebacker, obviously a very, very physical position. What did you do in terms of preparation to be able to play at this level this season?
A lot of extra work outside of lifting and running at what we did in the summer. I did get way faster. A lot of footwork stuff and working the hands, because the hands are a big part of playing linebacker, especially outside. Walking down sometimes and. Just a lot of extra work you had to do after.
Okay. As you kind of looked ahead to this season, I guess that's a poor way to start that question. Were you a linebacker before when you were coming up through like middle school and junior varsity and all that kind of stuff, or is that more of a new position for you?
No, I played quarterback and linebacker growing up, so it's not really new. It's used to it.
Okay, so that's something that Austin Newell has done as well. Did you talk to him much about that? Obviously, you guys are playing together now.
Yeah, well, I didn't like quarterback as much. I liked hitting people.
That's a good trait to have in a linebacker. Yeah. What about you? What are your hobbies away from football and sports?
Hang out with a lot of family and friends and play a lot of video games, you could say.
What's the video game du jour right now? The last one that I was like in on, so to speak, I think would have been Fortnite, and I was terrible at it. So what are you guys up to nowadays?
I play a lot of GTA.
Okay.
I play 2K.
Basketball 2K?
Yeah.
Okay. Say I play golf 2K. That's me being 32 years old.
I don't even have any idea what you guys are talking about.
You got other things to worry about at this point. All right, that's Kayleb, Barnett, Lane Condry. Guys, thanks very much for the time.
Thank you.
Back with more in just a moment. This is Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
For families who like to build their wealth while staying liquid, we have flexible rate CDs to keep your funds working hard, even when you're not. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. The right balance.
Welcome back one final time this week to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. Adam Hildebrandt alongside Coach Josh Blankenship. You got Norman North this week. What have you seen from the Timberwolves on film?
Very talented team. Very good up front on both sides of the ball. They're huge on their offensive line. Their front seven on defense is very talented. They've had a really good running back, really two of them. On offense, we think the starter might be dinged up and out. Their second one's really good as well. Quarterback is a beautiful 6'3" D1 looking specimen. Can throw the ball really well. So really, really good team, very well coached team. And again, we got to go on the road, travel 2 hours plus, playing on a Thursday. All the excuses are there. So I'm anxious to see how we respond to some success and a win. I know we've done well responding with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder when we haven't been rewarded with a win. I'm really excited to see, especially following this week of prep that we've had, how we show up and play.
And it's the second week in a row that you've got a Thursday game. Does that help having that in back-to-back weeks? Because you've kind of just gone through this process.
Yeah, I think when they're back-to-back like that, it feels a little bit more in the routine, in the rhythm, and you're not really thrown off as much as you are with a random Thursday game. So I think we've been able to stick with a good routine, and I don't think the kids have even noticed.
All right, we'll have the game for you on AeroVision Thursday night, kickoff at 7:05 from Norman. Coach Blankenship, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.